The liar paradox begins with a deceptively simple sentence. This sentence is false. At first glance, it looks like a playful riddle, something you might hear in a philosophy class or a puzzle book. But the more you think about it, the more unsettling it becomes. If the sentence is true, then it must be false. But if it is false, then it must be true. This endless loop challenges our most basic assumptions about truth and falsehood. Imagine being at a casual dinner party and someone says, "I am lying right now." How do you respond? If they are telling the truth, then they are lying, which makes the statement false. But if they are lying, then the statement is true. The paradox traps us in a cycle that seems impossible to escape. This puzzle is not just a linguistic trick. It exposes cracks in the very foundations of logic and language. Philosophers in ancient Greece were already fascinated by it. Epimenides, a Cretan philosopher, famously declared, "All Cretans are liars," because he himself was a Cretan. His statement turned back on itself, creating one of the earliest versions of the liar paradox. Aristotle later considered the paradox but avoided giving it a definitive resolution, perhaps recognizing that it revealed weaknesses in the logical systems of his time. Over the centuries, the liar paradox has resurfaced in theology, mathematics, and modern science. In the Middle Ages, theologians debated whether paradoxes could exist within divine truth. In the 20th century, logicians like Alfred Tarski and Kurt Gödel showed that the liar paradox is not just a curiosity, but a window into the limits of formal systems. Gödel's incompleteness theorems, for example, rely on self-referential statements similar to the liar paradox. They prove that in any sufficiently powerful mathematical system, there will always be truths that cannot be proven within the system itself. This is mind-blowing because it means paradoxes are not just word games. They reveal deep truths about the boundaries of knowledge. Imagine programming a computer to evaluate the sentence, "This sentence is false." The program would loop endlessly, unable to resolve the contradiction. This is why paradoxes matter in artificial intelligence and computing. They highlight the limits of machines and human reasoning alike. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy exploring ideas that bend reality. That way you won't miss the next paradox that could reshape how you see the world. Now, let's explore where this paradox came from and why it refuses to be solved. The liar paradox traces back to ancient Greece, but its influence stretches across centuries. Epimenides' statement, "All Cretans are liars," is one of the earliest recorded because he himself was a Cretan. The statement loops back on itself, creating a contradiction. This early version sparked debates about self-reference and truth. Later, Aristotle considered the paradox, but avoided giving it a definitive resolution, recognizing that it exposed cracks in the logical systems of his time. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and theologians debated whether such paradoxes could exist in divine truth. Could God's absolute truth contain contradictions? These debates were not just abstract. They influenced how scholars thought about scripture, morality, and the nature of reality. In the 20th century, logicians like Alfred Tarski and Kurt Gödel showed that the liar paradox is not just a curiosity, but a window into the limits of formal systems. Tarski suggested that statements about truth must exist at different levels. A sentence cannot declare its own truth or falsehood. It must be evaluated from a higher level. This avoids the loop, but it also complicates how we think about language. Gödel's incompleteness theorems, for example, rely on self-referential statements similar to the liar paradox. They prove that in any sufficiently powerful mathematical system, there will always be truths that cannot be proven within the system itself. This is mind-blowing because it means paradoxes are not just word games. They reveal deep truths about the boundaries of knowledge. Imagine programming a computer to evaluate the sentence, "This sentence is false." The program would loop endlessly, unable to resolve the contradiction. This is why paradoxes matter in artificial intelligence and computing. If you're enjoying this journey, give the video a like. It helps more curious minds discover these fascinating ideas. Now, let us look at how the liar paradox appears in everyday life and why it matters to you personally. You might think paradoxes belong only in philosophy books, but the liar paradox shows up in daily life. Consider a politician who says, "I never tell the truth," or a friend who insists, "I am always lying." These statements force you into the same logical trap. In psychology, similar contradictions appear when people hold conflicting beliefs. a phenomenon known as cognitive dissonance. In-law witnesses who contradict themselves create paradoxical testimony that challenges judges and juries. Even in science, paradoxes push boundaries. Quantum mechanics, with its strange dualities, often feels like a liar paradox in action. Schrodinger's cat, both alive and dead, echoes the same tension between truth and falsehood. These examples keep us engaged because they show paradoxes are not abstract puzzles. They shape real decisions and real systems. Ask yourself, how do you decide what is true when faced with contradictions? This question is at the heart of critical thinking. By grappling with paradoxes, you sharpen your ability to question assumptions and resist easy answers. That's why channels like this exist, to challenge your mind and expand your perspective. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. Join a community of thinkers who love exploring the strange and the impossible. Next, we'll uncover how modern logic and technology attempt to resolve the liar paradox, and why the solutions are never fully satisfying. In modern logic, one approach to the liar paradox is to create hierarchies of truth. Alfred Tarski suggested that statements about truth must exist at different levels. A sentence cannot declare its own truth or falsehood. It must be evaluated from a higher level. This avoids the loop, but it also complicates how we think about language. Another approach is paraconsistent logic, which allows contradictions to exist without collapsing the system. In computer science, researchers design algorithms that can detect self-reference and halt before falling into infinite loops. Yet none of these solutions fully eliminate the paradox. It remains a reminder that truth is not always simple. The liar paradox teaches humility. Our systems of logic, language, and computation are powerful, but they have limits, and those limits are revealed by a single sentence. This sentence is false. As we close this exploration, reflect on how paradoxes sharpen your curiosity. They remind us that reality is more complex than it seems. If you found this journey enlightening, hit the like button and share it with a friend who loves mind-bending ideas. Subscribe to stay connected, because we have more paradoxes coming that will challenge your perspective even further. And don't forget to check the link in the description to download a free guide on packed with examples and exercises to deepen your understanding. This is Parax, where logic fails and the mind awakens. Watch our next video to continue the adventure into the world of paradoxes.